Hey there, Go community. It's CB and I'm back. So good to sit down with Scott and Zack once again, especially for one of my favorite episodes, Community Questions. We've also discussed the latest announcement for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, as well as another digital gaming event taking place this summer, this time from Jeff Keighley. Also, we've been playing a ton of new games, including Streets of Rage 4, The Inner Friend, Moons of Madness, and Thomas stops by to tell us about a game he checked out called Summit of the Wolf. Finally, since I've been home, I've been playing a ton of catch-up, which you'll get to hear all about. This is The Gaming Outsider.
Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 293 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Tuesday, May 5th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and I'm joined, as always, by my fellow co-hosts. First off, a guy who celebrated May the 4th by watching 0 Star Wars movies, Zack Parkerson. What's up, man?
Incorrect. During your roundup, I said I watched 1.5 Star Wars movies.
No. You watched 4.5 episodes of the animated series.
In addition to 1.5 movies.
Oh, 1.5. I missed the 1.5. I apologize. Which 1.5 did you watch?
Episode 4 and half of episode 5.
Okay. I watched episode 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Wow. That's a lot.
Pretty
How were they?
Myself.
So are they okay?
They're good. Well, I just got done doing the entire marathon over Black Friday. I watched 1 through 8 on the day after Thanksgiving. So I had just watched them not too long ago, and they're still great. I will forever love those movies.
Yeah, hard not
to.
What
can I say? Nah. Anyway, also joining us this week for the first time in several weeks, because he's been out doing, he's been sightseeing in New York or something. Gives me great pleasure to welcome back to the show, Chris Behrensmeyer. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How's it going?
I'm doing all right, dude. We missed you.
I know. It's my glorious non-beard.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy. I feel like I text you and Zack like 12-year-old girls throughout the week, and it was very strange not being able to text you just whenever. I had to kind of I didn't know your schedule. I didn't know when you would respond. So I imagine people want to know, what was it like, or what can you say?
It was weird. Yeah, it's definitely a different world. It's kind of scary out there right now, and I feel kind of bad for a lot of the people that are still living there.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to send a shout out real quick to all the FDNY members and everybody else that was out there. Those guys treated me great, and it was a very eye-opening experience. I will put it that way.
Is that about all you can say, or can you expound?
I can expound on it, but unfortunately this is a family-friendly show, and there's some very bizarre things that I saw and experienced, which are not kid-friendly.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Well, I appreciate that.
Did you see Spider-Man while you were there?
No, but I did try to see as many of the sites as I could. So
I heard you had a really good sandwich while you were out there.
Oh my God, Katz's Deli. It was glorious.
You sent us a picture, and
it's like 2.5 pounds of corned beef on a sandwich.
That's absurd.
2.5 pounds?
Dude, it weighed a lot.
Well, no wonder it was like $19 or whatever you said it was.
Oh, it was really, really good.
Worth every penny?
Yes. I would gladly buy another.
I believe the words you said on our Discord channel were, it was the best sandwich you've ever eaten in your entire life.
Yes, I will, and I still stand by that.
Yeah?
So, the pizza is a little lacking.
I've never had New York pizza, and I think I'm starting to like thin crust pizza quite a bit as I get older.
Ooh, how dare you speak these words to me?
I'm liking it.
I did learn something very interesting out there. If you try to eat a thin crust pizza with knife and fork, you will be slap stupid.
Why would you do that? Why would you eat pizza with a knife and fork?
I don't know. Ask their governor. There's actually a picture of their governor doing that.
You have to be an actual psychopath to eat pizza with a fork and knife.
You've never eaten pizza with a knife and fork?
No.
No.
Not even like Giordano's or anything like that, where the real thick stuff?
Use your hand.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
it's pizza.
I've
It is
Get in
designed.
there.
It is designed to be picked up and consumed with hands.
I don't know. Sometimes knife and fork.
Oh my god! Get off the show.
I have. I also like ketchup on my hot dog. So what are you gonna do?
Well, ketchup's
Well, I mean
gross.
that's a Midwestern thing. Well,
Not in Chicago. You put ketchup on a hot dog in Chicago, you're gonna.
it's also definitely not a Wisconsin thing.
Yeah,
I would be surprised if you found a place in Chicago that has ketchup there.
that's a good point. Although I've come around to Chicago style hot dogs, I did not like them when I was younger, and
they're great.
Portillo's has changed my mind.
Still a brat guy.
I do like brats as well. I like ketchup on my brats too. Anyway,
Get out of here. No, shut up, leave.
no, I've grown around to brown mustard, spicy brown mustard. If you get the really good Wisconsin, my buddy gets this mustard from Bratfest up in Wisconsin, and I just could not believe how well it complemented a brat. So I'm full on mustard now.
Good.
Yeah, mustard was something I hated when I was a kid. I think when I was a kid, I was afraid of spicy things, and I always thought mustard was hot, and it's yellow mustard is not at all.
No.
When I was a kid, I thought limes were sweet to counteract the sourness of lemons in sodas. And then I bought a lime and just bit right into it and learned a very valuable lesson.
You bit right into a lime. Mm.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I actually do eat lemons and limes. Just peel them and eat them.
I've never done that.
That sounds
good.
it's very acidic.
Yeah,
It is, but it's very good.
So is an orange.
I guess so.
Yeah.
It feels like it would tear your mouth apart.
Mm.
Well, I want to apologize to everybody. We were supposed to record this yesterday, but due to a scheduling conflict, we are recording tonight instead. So I was going to say May the 4th be with everybody, but happy Cinco de Mayo, Taco Tuesday, I guess. I don't know.
the revenge of the 5th.
I've been seeing all kinds of memes like that all over today, which to me, Revenge of the 6th makes more sense, but
Oh yeah, unquestionably. But it's weird to not have them in order, right?
yeah, I guess.
You have to come up, with a 5.
I still think it's weird that Cinco de Mayo falls on a Taco Tuesday and has been canceled by a virus named after Mexican beer.
It's kind of interesting. Although
seen that
I had
meme as
tacos
well.
twice today for meals.
Tacos sound really good right now.
I had Taco Bell for lunch, and I had homemade tacos for dinner.
Man.
I'm just waiting for Scott to tell us that he eats tacos with a knife and fork now.
And with ketchup on the side. This is taco
No, I did
and
not.
ketchup.
Let's jump into the week's news. First big story that everybody's been talking about, Ubisoft officially announced Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I thought it was this kind of interesting way to reveal it. Because remember when the release first came out, they're like, there's going to be a tease for the new Assassin's Creed game, and everyone wanted to watch it, and it was that guy digitally drawing some of the artwork for the game. His name is Boss Logic. I was new to this. Have you guys heard of Boss Logic before?
No.
No.
I hadn't.
does he-
Apparently, we're in
Does
the
he do,
minority.
like poster mock-ups?
I don't know. I didn't look that deep into his profile, but
Okay.
he's very
Yeah.
well known
Yeah.
by a lot of people in the community. Anyway, the artwork that he did was really great. Did you see it? It's like the main character in the middle, and one side is blue, and one side is more earth toned. It was a really cool piece of art. And the new logo for Assassin's Creed,
I like it.
where it's 2 axes, that looks really cool, right?
But here's my problem with it. They've already done it with Assassin's Creed 3.
Oh,
Right.
that's true. They did with Connor's axes.
The only difference was they had the 3 stars at the
Mhm.
bottom in
Yeah.
between. So I'm like, okay, you've already done this. All right.
It looked
Whatever.
it looks a lot cooler with Viking axes.
It does. So
So what did you guys think of the trailer? Because the next day, we got to see the actual trailer, and it looks brutal as heck. Yes, I said heck.
it looks gloriously good.
Mhm.
Just insane mayhem and combat, which Vikings, man. Let's raid and pillage and just destroy things and be happy.
I really
Yeah, I think
promise
CB is going to review this one.
I feel like I'm going to sound like a contrarian jerk, but I honestly forgot to watch the trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God.
like That's how
Now
much
you need to get out.
That's how much Assassin's Creed doesn't register on my radar anymore.
Really?
Because I totally forgot. I forgot that there was a trailer. I remember the painting thing because that was cool. That's a cool way to announce a game.
There's so many things in this trailer though that look glorious. Like in every other Assassin's Creed game, the hidden blade has always been on the underside of the wrist.
Yep.
This time it's on the top, so it's like an overhand strike. Which how they revealed that was brutally amazing.
Yes. Here's the thing. I know nothing about Viking history, and I just know nothing about it. And I've always been intrigued by it. I kind of want to go a lot. I know this may not be historically accurate, but there's the TV show, the series Vikings, that I've heard is really good. This makes me want to go watch that and then maybe study up on some of the actual history. Just because I want to go into it knowing something.
But isn't that like the best thing about some of the Assassin's Creed games is learning some of the lore? Because they do sprinkle in quite a bit of historical knowledge on top of everything else.
Yeah, so, I'd say they're more accurate with their portrayals of the geography than they are of the actual history because they take some creative liberties.
Right,
but if you read like
the Codex is always accurate.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Isn't it?
Yeah, the Codex is almost always like spot on perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just really excited for it. If you can't tell, like I love this.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to check out because they have the mythological missions in Origins and Odyssey.
Yes.
So I'd be intrigued for those for Valhalla, but I assume it's going to play like those games as well. And as we can infamously remember in my review, I did not care for the gameplay of Odyssey at all.
Well, the game has shifted quite a bit from its roots of the original Assassin's Creed games, and Zack, like you, I do miss that format to some degree. I kind of wish we'd get those as well. I miss the assassination missions, and now they do feel like an open-world RPG, which I still like, but I kind of miss the assassinations and feel like you're hunting down somebody.
I guess I kind of do. I miss being an assassin in the Assassin's Creed franchise.
I mean, when you think of and then I'm also not trying to be contrarian either, but when I think assassin, I don't think big brute Viking. You know what I mean?
Honestly, again, I didn't watch the trailer, but it almost felt like the Hidden Blade was the afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's make a Viking game. Oh wait, man, we got to do that. We got to do that Assassin and Templar stuff, don't we?
Right.
Well, yeah. I actually have my own theories about this game. So, with Odyssey and Origins being the roots of the Assassin's Order, if you look at the time frame, because they're invading Saxon England, this game seems ripe for the backstory and the roots of the Templar Order.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess this only would be like 200, 300 years before the Altair timeline, right?
Yeah. So, which already the Templar roots had been well established. So I have a feeling that this is going to delve into some of the Templar roots and like how all that started.
So do you think you might? Well, no, he's an assassin. He's got the blade. They can't pull what they did in Assassin's Creed 3 again, can they?
They can. So, but I have a feeling he's going to be an assassin. So, in 3, you start out as a Templar.
Oh, that okay. I got what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, how do you tell the Templar story if you were not one of the Templars? If it's not from the perspective of one of those characters?
Rogue was also a Templar thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess technically.
Liberation.
Well, you could be an assassin trying to stop the birth of the Templars and failing. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That would be.
You just end up losing at the end of the game or something.
There you go. Look at you. You should be a writer.
Hire me, Ubisoft. I'll treat the present day story right.
Something I really hope they do bring into this one is some more of the present day stuff.
They are bringing the present day. It is supposed to continue. I cannot remember the character's name. What is her name? Was it Layla? Layla, yes.
Yeah.
That's supposed to continue. And apparently we're in the minority of people that actually really like the present day story. So that is going to be nice for us, at least. Here's what I thought was interesting. The main character's name, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but it looks like Ivor. And
Ivor.
Ivor, okay. Now, in Odyssey, you got to play as either the male or female character, but they each had different names. It was Cassandra and Alexios. But in this one, your character will be Ivor, either the female version or the male version. And you are a warrior and leader of a Viking clan. And like CB mentioned, players will clash with the Saxons as the Norse warriors attempt to settle in England. What do you guys think about...
Can I just interject? This sounds so awesome. And I know I'm going to want to play it, but I know I'm not going to like playing it. And that sucks.
Yeah.
It sounds so cool. Vikings invading, and it's going to be Norse mythology, and there's going to be allegedly present-day storyline that matters. Like, hey, this sounds pretty good.
My peoples. It's my peoples.
I know I'm going to play it.
Man, I just know I won't like it.
Norse mythology, it's so hot right now.
It is so hot right now, dude. It's insane.
Did I tell you I started listening to Norse mythology, by the way?
By Neil Gaiman?
Yes.
Tremendous.
And he also reads it. I didn't know that. He narrates it as well.
Have you learned how earthquakes are made?
Not yet. Man,
I love that
story. I
story.
learned how Mjolnir was created, and I was kind of fascinated by that whole story. That was... Man. That's a really
Norse mythology is the best.
I just finished the story about the wedding. Which was a funny story.
Mimir tells that very story in God of War.
Does he really?
Yes.
Yep, when you're out on the boat.
I missed that.
But except for in his story, there's a character missing.
I have to go back and play God of War again just to hear that. But anyway, back to Assassin's Creed. The RPG systems will continue in Valhalla. So unfortunately, Zack is probably not going to dig this game. But
I think I'm going to buy it anyway. But continue. I'm going to buy it, play 10 hours of it, and hate it. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I believe it. The good news is this is supposed to come holiday 2020 on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS4, PS5, Stadia, and the Epic Game Store. This will not be...
controversial decision.
Will not be on Steam. But this will be one of those crossover games, much like Assassin's Creed 4 was. It came at the end of the Xbox 360 cycle and was also on the Xbox One cycle, so this is one that will be available on both. This feels like a game that I definitely want to play on the new generation. Like, this could be the one that just makes me go, this is why I bought this system. If there's any available.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I'm just excited because I'm going to have a new Assassin statue to add to my collection.
Did you pre-order? You pre-ordered, didn't you?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Of course. He's grinning.
Dude, I have every Assassin's Creed statue that they've done for the collector's edition, and I think they all look great, and I can't wait for this one. So
I'm a little jealous. I have the Assassin's Creed 4 one, the Kenway one.
Oh yeah, from Black Flag.
It's actually in my classroom right now.
Oh,
I still say my favorite was Connor.
Yeah,
that statue looked great.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had that one. The only one I have is Ezio from Assassin's Creed 2.
Nice.
The worst one was Altair because it's only 3 inches tall.
Yes, mine was broken too.
Wow, that's a bummer.
So
when I opened it.
Anyway, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. At least 2/3 of us are excited about it. I know that our community is.
I think we're all excited. I just know I'm readying myself for the disappointment.
Well, maybe if you go in and just like lower your expectations this time and know what you're getting into, maybe you'll like it better than you liked Odyssey.
I feel like my fascination with Norse mythology will carry me a little bit.
That'll help. I know our community is just going bonkers about this, especially Maurice. He was the one that actually notified me of this. He caught wind of this news before I did. And was just talking up a storm. He is so excited about this. Spencer as well is just beyond stoked for this. He actually asked if there was any way he could squeeze in on the episode and talk about it with us. So he's really stoked, and a lot of people are. But let's go ahead and move on to the next story. Jeff Keighley announced the Summer Game Fest. No E3 this year. No, everything is canceled. So who else to give us what we all want but Jeff Keighley? This is going to be a 4-month-long digital-only industry-wide celebration of gaming. And just the Phase 1 lineup includes developers and publishers such as 2K, Activision, Bandai Namco, Bethesda, Blizzard, Bungie, CD Projekt Red, Digital Extremes, EA, PlayStation, Private Division, Riot Games, Square Enix, Steam, WB, and Xbox. What do you guys think? Will this be a good substitute for E3 this year?
Nobody loves video games more than Jeff Keighley.
Right?
This guy just cares.
Yeah, it's not even like just likes video games. He's one of the most passionate people about this hobby than anybody I follow on the internet.
Yes. He could be a real goofball during the Game Awards, but he's an endearing guy.
You know what? I'll allow it. I'm fine with him being a goofball. Yeah, I don't have any problem with it.
Fair enough. There's a fascinating interview with him you should listen to. Phase 1, that's a hell of a lineup. Warner Brothers, that's the one I'm honing in on.
Well, yeah,
of course.
we want to see what that Arkham game is, right?
Right, well, I think was it Kotaku that ran that story about Warner Brothers was set to announce the next Batman game and the next project from Rocksteady this E3.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's this seems like now would be the time to do it at this Summer Game Fest.
Yeah. Well, you know what I hope this is? I hope this is 4 months long of just video game stuff all day long. I know that sounds like a tall order, but you know what I mean? Like how we used to come home and flip on G4 and there'd just be something video game related going on. I hope that's what this is. Just bring it on. Even maybe not 24 hours. Maybe,
12 hours. 12 hours.
That's a lot of content. That's a lot of production.
Even if it was him just talking to a different developer every day for an hour, that would be cool.
Yeah. And just, even just have trailers for 20 minutes to show, not even maybe necessarily brand new ones. Just trailers of games and celebrations of games.
Just like a 24/7 Twitch channel. It's just playing something always.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at the Phase 1 lineup, you have, 15, 16 different people there? Mm-hmm. You could focus like 2 days on each one.
Yeah.
Right.
And that'd be like 1 month. The next month, okay, we got 15 more. They get 2 days each on this channel and go. Show whatever you want.
I'm surprised.
And then we'll talk about it.
Surprised to see PlayStation on here.
Well, when they have nothing else to do. I mean, hey, maybe they'll finally show us a picture of their system.
Somebody would just show us more terrible Last of Us box art.
Or more just ramblings of, look, it's got hardware. Church lady.
Yeah, loading. There's no loading on the PS5. Have you heard this?
Ray tracing. Hard drives.
If they talk about the loading one more time, I'm going to lose it.
You say that, and you're going to get that in your hands, and you're going to be like, oh, man, the load times on this are amazing.
Well, where will I find my time to browse Twitter if there's no load times?
So you're actually saying that the load times on your PS4 are a feature?
I think less Twitter is probably a good thing overall.
Probably. I've discovered the ugly parts of Twitter since this whole pandemic has gone down. It is a brutal place to be sometimes.
Ooh, you think that's brutal? Wait till you start perusing Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah, definitely don't go to Reset Era.
Yeah, there's some dark holes on there that you don't want to go down.
Yeah, there's no more volatile a website than Reset Era.
I don't even know what that is. Is that worse than 4chan?
It's kind of like 4chan for gamers exclusively.
I don't know. I'm excited about this, and like I said, the name Jeff Keighley behind it gives me hope. I don't expect 24/7 Game Awards coverage type stuff, but it would just be nice just to have something gaming on in the background all day long at home if I'm stuck at home.
The only thing I don't like about this is 4 months. I want it to be a little more compact.
Yeah.
4 months is just like, oh, cool. We're just gonna have a YouTube channel where we're gonna highlight trailers. Oh, we already do that.
That's true.
Right, on paper, it does kind of just seem like, well, all these publishers are going to do their own thing anyway. Now we're putting a banner over it. But in Jeff Keighley, I trust to make it something a little bit more special than that.
I agree.
I mean, the interviews that he'll probably be providing will be nice.
When he turns to the camera and says, "Zack, you were right. This is the start of a DC video game shared universe," then we'll all know. It's special.
Well, let's go ahead and move on. The next one I got here, the Borderlands movie. Yes, there is a movie based on Borderlands coming, has landed its first cast member. And I'm really curious what you guys think about this, because Lilith is going to be played by Cate Blanchett. What do you feel about that casting?
Will it be live action, or will it be that same crappy art animation style?
You shut your mouth. I like
Whoa,
the
yeah,
animation in Borderlands.
I don't.
Borderlands' problem is its writing, not its art.
Oh my goodness. And here I am over in the corner just loving all of it, so.
Eli Roth, interesting choice.
Yeah. Cate Blanchett's a very big get. She does seem a little old for Lilith, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't have anything against Cate Blanchett, but Lilith, I always pictured her as like a late teenager or a early to mid 20s.
Yes, I agree.
Just pound on the makeup.
No, I mean, hey, let Cate Blanchett be Cate Blanchett. It's an interesting choice. But if you could get her, why would you ever not let her come on? You know?
Yeah, that's true.
But Eli Roth is definitely a weird choice for a comedy action. A horror director doing a comedy action movie.
Like, the moment I saw that, my brain instantly thought of taking Borderlands, but making it like Hostile.
I was gonna say, if you want this game to be gory, or this movie to be gory, Eli Roth will give it to you. But I feel like his movies just feel so over the top in terms of, I think torture porn was the phrase everybody used to. Movies.
Still do.
Did he have any movies that weren't that? I'm not as familiar with his catalog.
There's been a few here and there, but I mean, majority of his stuff has all been gore fest.
Right.
Yeah, I don't feel like he did anything that wasn't horror, right?
God, there's probably not much.
But I guess, James Wan, he only did horror, and then he did one of those Fast and Furious movies, right? So it can be done.
I just worry about Cate Blanchett, not because of her acting, or I actually think she fits the character well. But if they're gonna cast a more seasoned actor for that role, are they gonna do that for all the other characters as well, or is this gonna be set in the future? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Who would your ideal casting for like Jack be?
Oh, Handsome Jack?
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't even think he'd be in this movie.
I have a feeling it'll make an appearance.
I mean, I hear Jack, and I think Ryan Reynolds. Like, that's just like, but that seems almost too typecast at that point.
I don't think he's dark enough.
He can be. Deadpool's not exactly a light and tone film.
I was gonna say, did you see Deadpool?
It makes me laugh hysterically.
So did Jack.
Shouldn't Handsome Jack also?
I don't know. I've never finished one or two.
Well, in Tales from the Borderlands, Handsome Jack was there, and he was pretty entertaining in that.
But his character was dark in that.
Well, yeah, he's got someone else's face stapled on.
So it's too early to tell for me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
This.
I just thought it was interesting that we actually have a cast member for sure. I'm curious to see where that goes. CB, you added one more news story here at the last minute. Why don't you tell everybody what's going on?
There's a new Oculus Quest headset that's been announced.
Mm-hmm.
The developers came out and said that they are working on a new version, which is kind of surprising over the fact that they're having trouble keeping stock in for the headsets, which is a good thing. They're looking to make it lighter, faster, more like a pro version. But what I find interesting is the developers reportedly want to keep new hardware coming every 3 to 4 years. Where cell phones is like once every year there's a new version, and consoles it's like every 5 to 7 years. They want to fit somewhere in between that window. It has been delayed to 2021 due to coronavirus concerns. So I'm almost wondering if this wasn't originally slotted for a holiday 2020 release.
Probably.
So I'm excited just because I love my Quest. I use it a lot.
But do you want to update yours every 4 years?
I'd be okay with that, honestly. Because if you have the more traditional ones that you have to like plug into a like computer tower. You're constantly updating computer towers with like graphics cards, RAM, and things like that. 3 to 4 years for a high-end piece of technology does not seem that far fetched.
I know we're kind of conditioned that way with our cell phones. I feel like I've not owned a cell phone for more than 3 years, and that's a $1,000 piece of hardware.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that as soon as the new one comes out, they're immediately in line for the new cell phone.
Yeah, that's not me.
So I'm okay with 3 to 4 years. Honestly, if Xbox or Sony or Nintendo started making a new console every 3 to 4 years, I'd probably be okay with that too. In a sense, they already do, because you have like the Xbox One X, then you had the Xbox One S, then you had the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X. So we're essentially already doing that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. As long as you don't have to have the new hardware to play the new games, that's where I get worried. You know, if my game's gonna look prettier, if the headset's gonna be more comfortable, then I'm okay with it. As long as I can still play the new games on my old headset. It drives me crazy that we have two different VR headsets between us, and we still can't play Half-Life Alyx. I understand.
Yeah.
I can.
You got to buy like an $80 cable or something to be able to do it, don't you?
Nope. Spencer Cushing actually went online and found me one for $10.
Okay. So we need to do that as soon as possible, because I keep hearing amazing things about that game.
You need to play Half-Life 2 first.
No, it's not going to happen.
Yes,
I tried.
Yes, it will.
I tried, man. I tried.
It's a shame, son. That's a shame.
Maybe I'll watch a playthrough of it or something. I couldn't.
Okay, at least that's something.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, we are an independently funded podcast, which means that we must pay for this podcast hosting services, website, all on our own, which is why we have a Patreon page where fans can help us out, contribute monthly to help offset those costs of production, as well as give back to the community. So if you'd like to help out, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. Patrons at the $3 level even get some bonus episodes. And CB, it's so good to have you back so you can finally tell everybody what's going on with the content, because I've been in charge of it while you've been gone, and I missed you, man.
Hey, you know what? You did a great job while I was gone, and I applaud you.
Well, thanks, man.
So we have a Final Fantasy VII Remake spoiler cast coming up.
No, it's out.
It's out.
It's out.
Man, I'm behind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm behind. I'm still trying to catch up, man. Also, the Break the Seal on Super Metroid, which had Scott and Nate on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of sad that I missed that one. So,
dude, it was great. Because I replayed the game myself, but then talking to somebody that had never played it before and experienced it for the first time, you should ask him. I was texting him when he was near the end, like, dude, are you at this part yet? Tell me about it. And then we finally.
I was going to be part of that because I haven't played it yet either.
Aw.
So. But upcoming, we have a Break the Seal Uncharted collection with David Newman.
I need to play those.
And me too. A retro reminisce on Chrono Trigger with Chad.
Yes.
So that's like his favorite game, and I unfortunately have never really gotten more than halfway through that game.
Well, we got to decide who's going to do what, because I can't play all the Uncharted games and Chrono Trigger in a couple weeks.
Well, we'll hash that out later.
All right.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
Don't you worry.
Again, if you'd like to hear those episodes as well as all of our past content, head over to patreon.com/thegocast. $3, like I said, will give you access to all of that. But we're going to go ahead and jump now into our From the Outside In topic. It's CB's first episode back in quite a while, and it worked out well because he loves Community Question Week. So as usual, we compiled questions from Facebook, Twitter, and Discord from you, the Gaming Outsider community, as a way to start some conversations. Some are video game related, some not so much. So who wants to start?
Ooh, I'll take the first one.
All right, go for it, man.
From Facebook, Nick Brown wants to know, do you wear gloves when you go outside and then touch your phone or wallet? I work as a paramedic, and I'm really bad about this, but I don't wear gloves, man. I wash my hands, and I carry a lot of hand sanitizer with me. So yeah, I don't wear gloves. I just don't touch other people, and I try not to touch things when I'm out. But I was even doing that before all this Corona stuff started. So I try not to touch things because, like I said, people are disgusting. So
I wore gloves to Menards once because my wife was insistent that I wear a mask and gloves when I was out at the store, and I did it. And then I heard someone tell me that if you wear gloves, and I think this is part of Nick's point, if you wear gloves, you can only wear them once. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like if you take them off, they're done. You can't put them back on and wear them again. Because, like you said, if you touch your phone or your wallet or anything like that, because I was, I had my gloves on, and I found out that I could still text and I could still do things while I had my gloves on. And to his point, my phone is gross and disgusting. So all that stuff is now in my gloves, and then I'm touching everything. So, yeah. But I'm surprised by how few people are wearing a mask at stores and out and about.
Yeah, that's a poor choice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not picking sides. I just, I get a lot of funny looks for wearing a mask.
So you actually asked earlier about some of the things I saw in New York. First day there, I actually watched four grown men sharing the same cigarette.
Wow. That just seems like a bad idea when there's not a pandemic going on.
Yeah. Like I said, people are disgusting.
My brothers used to pick cigarette butts up and like light them off for the one hit they had left.
Oh,
off the ground.
I saw some of that too. So
that is so gross.
Yeah. Tell you, Kansas City, man, nobody's wearing a mask
at all.
I would say maybe 1 in 10 people.
Wow.
So most people also don't realize this, but even as a paramedic, you know how many times I changed my gloves for one patient? 3 times.
Really?
Yep. As soon as you go in, you make initial contact, assess your patient. If I have to get anything out of my bag, I'm going to take my gloves off, put new ones on, get what I need out of the bag. That way I don't contaminate my bag.
Right.
Get the patient into the ambulance. And then if I'm driving, take my gloves off, steering wheel, so I don't contaminate my steering wheel or my door handle.
I got to ask, have you discovered, because you do this so often, is there a quick, easy way to get your hands into these gloves? Because the ones that I've been using, like it's difficult to get your hand in there quickly. I imagine you got to do it quickly.
You're probably wearing the wrong size gloves.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a problem.
And B, 3 things. A, you're probably wearing the wrong size gloves. B, one size all does not mean one size for all. And C, if you have sweaty hands, you're going to have a hard time putting on gloves anyways. Yeah. So, antiperspirant. Rub it on your hands.
Or
works great.
Or just some powder.
I do not wear gloves. Just to answer the question.
Yeah.
No. I work at a restaurant. I gotta tell you, there's not a chef in the world who wear gloves either.
No. I worked at Applebee's for 2 years.
Yeah, one of the first things in both Chicago and Kansas City, I had to take the restaurant manager course, and both times the instructor told me that gloves are just a complete waste of time. They're like, it's for the customer's eyes, not for you. Like, you're washing your hands after you do anything in a restaurant anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Your hands and your gloves, your hands are as clean as the gloves will be.
Right.
Yep. Well, the other thing is, like, if you touch things at stores, don't touch your face. Don't touch things in your pockets. And be a clean human being. This has
been infuriating because I'm still, I'm an essential worker making coffee. People just still want to touch everything. Just pick up something off like, oh, this Hershey's looks interesting. Sir, have you never seen a Hershey's before? Do you really need to pick it up to look at it during a pandemic? Do you really need to?
He's making it a purchasing decision. Needs to read the label.
No. And we have these barricades set up because we have the part of the restaurant we're in is like completely quarantined from the public essentially, and people just constantly just try to move the furniture to get past it. Constantly.
I don't get it.
It's bizarre, man.
Well, and honestly, I feel that cell phones have made one thing really great for this. If I'm at a store and I'm looking at a game, like even before all this started, like I see a game on a shelf, or a movie on a shelf and I want to like read the back box art, I can do it on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So just boop.
IMDb right up there.
Yeah, so just if you're going to wear gloves, make sure to change your gloves often, just because the world is gross. And if, for God's sake, if you wear gloves, don't touch your face. Like, secondary transmission is the thing. Like, I see that so much. People like, oh, I'm wearing gloves. Let me just like rub my face.
Yeah, I'm so afraid. Like, when I did wear gloves, I was like, if I hadn't, number one, I never realized how much I touched my face until I had it pointed out to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've like until like I'm told not to touch my face like this. That is my hair, and that is not my face. And why do you think I cut it all off? I never realized how much like my face itched. Like now that I can't touch it, it itches all the time. So like when I'm wearing gloves, I'm trying to itch it like with my sleeve or something like that, so that I'm not using my hands. And it's one of those. Not that you can't do something, that's when you want to do it the most.
And I have seasonal allergies, and my eyes always get really itchy during spring. So that's been a lot of fun. Yeah. Without touching my face.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine that's pretty terrible.
Well, Adam Z asked, given the current financial landscape of the world and the lack of exclusive launch titles, do you think console launch day sales will be affected for the PS5 and Xbox Series X? I would assume. I mean, I feel like they should delay these things.
I'm kind of with you.
Just feels like a bad time for a brand new library.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sure CB disagrees because he needs everything right away, of course.
No, actually, I see both sides of this coin. For me, like if this trend continues where we're all stuck at home, man, what a perfect time. They're gonna fly off the shelf.
That's a good point.
Like if I'm gonna be stuck at home for like another 6 to 8 months, man, like, oh cool, I got this brand new thing. I'm gonna play with it. I'm gonna play with it a lot. So
yeah, I mean, to answer Adam's question, do I think the launch day sales will be affected? I think whatever stock is available is going to be gone. It's going to sell out because number one, it's going to be limited. And like you said, when there's limited quantities, people just do whatever they can to get one. Look, like been Nintendo's MO for like how many years?
Well, look how hard it is to find a Switch right now in a store.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
So, I mean, if I was Microsoft or Sony and I had these things sitting in a warehouse ready to go, I'd launch them early.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like the strategy of both these consoles is we don't have exclusives. What is the impetus to purchase them?
That's a good point, too. Because
you can just play everything on the current thing anyway. Why not spend the money on a bunch of more games than to get a console?
Because nobody can go to work and make games.
We still have plenty of games. There's not a shortage of games by any means. Not
yet, but give it 6 to 8 months. I have a feeling there's going to be a window where there's like, oh look, there's nothing new coming.
We're gonna have a drought. We're gonna call that catch-up season.
I mean, I was gonna say, yeah, God forbid America just takes a second to look backwards and appreciate art that already happened.
Mm-hmm.
I see Zack playing Prince of Persia again.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Finally go for that world record. A speed run.
I think that the limited quantities and the fact that people are... I think the bigger issue here is people having funds, because how many people are unemployed right now? We're getting the stimulus checks, but that's supposed to be for necessities and food. This is already a luxury item, when we were not in the middle of a pandemic. And now that we are, it's a very extravagant luxury item. Are people going to afford it? Are they going to put it on plastic? It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to affect launch day sales.
No.
No, I don't either. I still feel like delaying it would be the savvy decision. But it's going to sell out. People flock to entertainment during crises.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what entertainment is on the console.
I mean, to make your to add to your point, Zach, that would be like saying that we have a new format of like an 8K movie player gets released. That, we'll still play 4K movies, which we already have,
Right.
but we already have a 4K player. So there's not a rush. But we're Americans. We have to have the newest, latest thing out there. Even if you got to remember, those that follow the gaming news and the hardware and all that, we understand that this console is not going to have any exclusive games at launch. I think they said for at least a year for the Xbox Series X. But how many people out there, new console, I got to get it, I got to have it, and they get it home and they're like, well, I could do the same thing, and it's going to be a shock to them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you could launch these consoles with no games and it will sell out because Americans need the new.
Well, there's also the people that know that it's going to be a shortage coming up here, and so they're just immediately thinking of scalping. And,
so disgusting people.
Yeah, that's where we're going to see the people that. This is where Microsoft is going to go, or Sony are going to go. Well, why didn't we just charge $700 or $800 for this thing? Because people are willing to pay that for it.
Do we still have an actual firm price?
No, I was overshooting on I hope I was overshooting. I better have been overshooting.
Sony or Microsoft, if you're listening, ignore Scott's previous statement.
Ignore what you want, a $700 or $800 console?
No, like just take that idea away from them.
Oh my goodness, yeah. All right, the next comment comes from Jennifer Maloney. She says, assuming you've been quarantined, what's the one thing you miss most from the outside world? I think we answered this a couple weeks ago. I miss just hanging out with you guys and drinking beer. I really do. I was over at your house while you were gone doing some work, and sitting on your porch where I used to sit with you with a can of beer, sitting there just talking. And we just haven't done that in so long.
Yeah. Being in another state for a month, I definitely missed my friends, and this, like, talking with people, like my friends, and my bed, man. I missed my bed.
What did you sleep on? Did you have like a cot, or what do you have to sleep on?
No, luckily this was like the nicest deployment I've done so far. They actually put us up in a hotel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it was nice, but working like 16-hour days, coming back, shower, fall asleep, get up, do it again. And I really missed beer while I was out there. It was a sad day.
Yeah. I don't know. What about you, Zach?
I do. I miss restaurants, just sitting down, have somebody prepare food for you. I miss going to the comic shop every week. That's been increasing the longer this goes on.
Yeah.
Getting the itch to look through the racks, but you can't.
No, not legally.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm still like scrounging, like looking for trades that I want to buy, and doing curbside just to support the shop, but it's just not the same as going in, looking at the shelf. It's not the same.
Yeah. When you spend like an hour just walking through a comic book store just to peruse, but then not actually buy anything.
Like every Wednesday, I go pick up my pull list, but then also I still just browse for like 15, 20 minutes because I like being in there.
Something about the smell of old books, man.
Yeah.
I get that.
Trying to sell people on seeing Birds of Prey. Apparently unsuccessfully, based on the box office.
So, our next one, Sean Coates. What are some canceled or rumored games you wish you could have played? Back in the early 360 PS3 days, there was a Dirty Harry game in the works that had direct involvement from Clint Eastwood. It sounded fun, but unfortunately it didn't come to fruition. Immediately, Ghost. Like StarCraft Ghost, man.
StarCraft Ghost, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like that was like way up there on the list for me. So,
I mean, the two big ones that come to mind for me are Scalebound and that Star Wars, was it
1313? Oh man, yeah, that was gonna be my. Oh yes, the Boba Fett in the Coruscant Underworld game. Yeah, it sounded pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'd have been down for that too. There's so many like vaporware games that have just been out there over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Dead Rush? Anybody?
No.
It was a Treyarch open world zombie game on the original Xbox and PS2 era, and it was like this open world survival game, but you could enter any house, which was kind of cool. And the big pitch was that your car was super important, and these like zombies and monsters could jump on your car and rip off like a car door and stuff. So you'd have to try to find another car to borrow a car door from, and then you go back to your settlement and you had to ward off the waves of zombies every night. It sounded really cool. It's a little bit like State of Decay's got a little bit of it, but this one had more of an actual narrative. Like there was a big, almost Cthulhu monster in the ocean surrounding the city that you were quarantined in. For instance, it looked wicked cool, and then they got canceled so they could divert all resources to their Spider-Man team.
Right. How about Silent Hills?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or the Walking Dead game.
I don't remember. There was one that was canceled. I've played some terrible Walking Dead games.
Well, there was the big one that like got pulled after it had that early release, but it never made it to console.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Overkill? I thought it did come out on PC though.
It got an early release, but it wasn't up very long. It was like 5 days.
Yeah, I mean, I heard it was pretty wretched.
But most of the people couldn't play because it was so early access that it was pretty unplayable.
Which is funny because Scott and I played at E3 and it wasn't unbearable.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, that PC when we were playing with the guys that couldn't speak English?
Yes.
Yes, I remember that. No, it wasn't unplayable. It was not your typical zombie shooter game. It was very much, would you say tactical?
Yeah, I'd say it was very, very slow paced. Considered. You'd be very considered in your actions. Yes, Deliberate's a good one. Oh, you know what? The original version of Splinter Cell Conviction.
I didn't know there was an original
I would love to
version.
play that. It was a Hobo Sam. You ever seen the pictures of Hobo Sam Fisher?
No.
Oh man, their big. Oh man, their big hook was their physics engines where you could pick up anything. Like you'd be on the run and you go through a convenience store, but you could pick up anything like the tables or the chairs or anything. It was very strange. It was very like a almost melee combat game. It was very inspired by the Bourne movies.
Ah, okay. Was there supposed to be a Mega Man game where you could build the levels? Mega Man Universe? Wasn't that supposed to be a thing at one point?
Probably. So, I mean, I could see it. Looking at the posters behind you, there's a movie that I can think of.
A movie? Tron?
Yeah. Flynn Lives.
Oh.
Like it was supposed to be Tron 3.
I still think a third Tron movie needs to happen.
Yeah. I really think so too.
Anyway, all right, Zach, why don't you go ahead and take the next question there?
Sure thing. Thomas Becks, which one of the Go Crew would you choose to be quarantined with for 2 weeks, and which games would you play? It seems like a loaded question.
It is. Who do you love more, Scott?
Ha. I'm going to say Zach, not because I don't love CB, but because I can pretty much play games with you whenever I want to. I don't think I've ever sat in a room side by side with Zach and played games when we weren't at E3 together. And
that's a good,
we need to do
point.
that. We've only played online together. So if I could get 2 weeks, and that's what it takes for me to get to hang out with Zach in person, then that's what I choose.
I hate you because you stole my answer.
Wow, guys, feels so special.
Yeah, well, I mean, I see Scott on such a regular basis outside of this quarantine stuff, that it's like, oh, well, my wife gives me so much crap. I mean, she calls him my boyfriend because at least once a day I get a phone call from him or he stops by the house randomly.
You know what? My wife says the exact same thing about you.
I know. It's cute.
See, man, I came with Rockford. I would ruin what you guys have, you know?
No, because you'd be part of the trifecta.
Maybe like a polyamorous kind of thing.
Yes.
We're all just getting each other.
Man.
Yes.
Then we'd have to get like a third place like an apartment or a house or something that we buy that just becomes
Where
like
we
a
all-
gaming house.
Yeah, it's like we just have like a just neutral space we all hang out in.
That'd be amazing.
That sounds awesome.
I would just move the game collection there.
That's dangerous if you don't. you have to get some buco security.
What are you talking about? I'd always be there.
That's true.
Yeah. He'd forget about his family. It'd only take
Who
3
are
hours.
they?
He'd be like, "Oh yeah, I was married, wasn't I?"
Wasn't there a movie based on that where the guys had a place that they had the shared apartment that they would swap the keys, whatever?
Yeah, it was old school.
The loft.
Oh,
They used it for more
yes.
illicit things than we're
It
talking
had
about.
Wentworth Miller in that movie.
Of course, that's why you know that movie.
Yeah, he's a national treasure.
You never saw that movie, CB?
nope.
It was.
I'll have to watch it now.
It's like they had this loft that they rented, like a studio apartment, and they would party there, and they would take turns bringing their mistresses there, and
Right.
and then a murder takes place, and they have to decide what they're going to do because they don't want their wives to know that they've been hanging out. It's like a totally serious thriller movie. It's not an old school comedy or anything
It's
like
actually
that.
pretty good, man.
Yeah,
I'll have to give it a watch. So
Right. I mean, because it can only be one of those 4 guys. They're the only ones who know about the loft. It's a
exactly.
good hook.
So
True.
Zach is dodging the question because we both chose him. So,
All right, so
who are you picking?
yeah, I'm just gonna.
Like
I'm gonna
Chad
avoid
or
the answer.
Owens?
I was gonna say I'm gonna avoid choosing between you two entirely. Saying I'm gonna hang out with Christina for 2 weeks,
There you
I can
go.
see that.
and I will take her through every single Yoko Taro adventure.
Man, what a safe answer. What a safe
You like that?
answer.
I mean, I
I'm
can make a
surprised
joke. I can make a
I'm
joke about
surprised
us
you didn't go for
exploring the
Nate.
water temple or something, and can her not. Yeah, maybe less safe.
I was going to say, she's the only one. Never mind.
Ooh.
She has the
So-
largest appreciation for Nier. How about that?
Oh, that's
Okay,
what
I'll
it
give you
really
that one.
is. All right, the next comment comes from Carmel Bear over on Discord, who says, "What was the funniest moment you had in-game with a friend while playing online or amongst friends playing local couch co-op where you couldn't stop laughing?" I'm talking about that kind of laugh that hurts your abdomen because of how hilarious the situation was. Boy, there's one moment that I'm almost embarrassed to mention because there may have been substances involved at the time. But I was playing, oh man, it was a Dreamcast game. It wasn't Hydro Thunder, it was the other one, like Off-Road Thunder or Four-Wheel Thunder. It was the 4x4 version of Hydro Thunder. And there is a mode in that game that is basically capture the flag where there's a bomb. Or no, it's basically tag. One person starts with a bomb attached to them. And the only way you can get rid of the bomb is to crash into another player in an arena and then get away from them before they explode. And then there's a timer on the bomb. It is fast, frenetic. It's a super simple little game. But there was something about that at the time was so funny. Chasing each other around this room. It's not funny. It doesn't sound funny. But I have never laughed so hard playing a game as I was with like 3 other people, just laughing our butts off at just this stupid little tag game is what it basically was. And my stomach hurt from laughing so hard. I'm sure you guys can top that because it's a pretty lame answer.
Well, I have numerous stories of getting drunk and playing WoW with my brother
Uh-huh.
because we used to have like side-by-side computers.
Right?
And it was just constant, like just pounding beer all night and playing that game. But the one I'm going to bring up is at your laughing at you, Scott.
Laughing at
when
me.
When I made you play Dragon's Lair.
Oh. Which I had never played before.
He had never played Dragon's Lair, and for almost 2 hours, I just watched Scott get so frustrated that because I sat there and played this game next to him, and I'm like, oh look, I beat it. And Scott's like, that's not so hard. I got this. Picks up his Switch, and within 3 seconds died the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then it proceeded to go on for, another 2 hours. I'm standing in Scott's basement, drinking a beer, sitting at his bar, just watching him get more and more frustrated playing this game. And I'm just getting more and more drunk. And I think at one point in time, I actually fell off the chair. I was laughing so hard.
I forgot about that. That was a good time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Zach, do you have one?
I feel like I don't. That comes out on top of my mind, the biggest thing I can think of is me and my roommate would listen to the Helter Skelter audiobook while playing Mario Kart.
Okay.
What?
And so we learned all about Charles Manson and his lackeys while playing Mario Kart on the Rainbow Road. And that was just funny because it would just be like, you know, you'd get the chain chomp during something horrific that you're hearing about in the book. And it was just that dichotomy of flowery Mario with horrific murder.
Wow.
And it's just like, oh, it just produced this uncomfortable laughter.
Uncomfortable laughter.
There's one in particular where during one of the murders, one of the ladies pooped on the next door neighbor's doorstep and like rang the doorbell and like ran away. Like it was a prank after committing a double homicide.
Wow.
But at the same time, Sean got like an infinite mushroom boost and beat me. So it was just like this hysterical thing where I was mad about losing, he was having a good time, and we're hearing about this just awful story. That was pretty funny.
I seriously cannot think about like the Charles Manson stuff now without seeing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in my brain.
Oh, okay.
I still haven't seen that
That was a
movie.
good movie.
It's a really good movie.
Is that on Vudu?
Yes, it is on the Vudu account.
I'm going to have to watch that because I keep hearing about that movie and I got to see what everybody's talking about. Apparently, the end of that movie is just like insane.
Yeah.
It's definitely something, man.
Yeah.
It's a straight up banana sandwich, man.
Oh, speaking of movies that have a bizarre ending, have you guys seen what's the one that won the Academy Award? The Korean movie that won the Academy Award?
Parasite?
Parasite. Have you seen that yet?
No.
That is an interesting movie. Not at all what I was expecting. I highly recommend it, and that goes off the rails at the end. It was really interesting. Very well shot. Like he won. He deserved that award. I think there were some I might have liked better, but that was it's worth a look. I will say that.
All right. Might have to check it out.
Yeah.
So,
It's on Hulu, so you don't have to buy it or anything.
Sweet. Even better.
Yeah.
So, Drew Ross, what are the top 3 games you put the most hours into out of your entire gaming career?
Oh.
Well,
I know yours is WoW.
That's number 1,
Yeah.
bar none. That soul-sucking craptastic game.
It took so many hours of your life and you hate it, huh?
Yep. All because I typed /played.
That sounds bitter, man.
Number 1 would probably be World of Warcraft. Number 2, EverQuest. And number 3 would probably be Counter-Strike. Like 1.6.
Never played a Counter-Strike game.
Oh, so many good memories. You can ask Nate Lucas if you want to talk some hilarious stories.
Is it the game that you guys would have like audio going, like different YouTube clips or G.I. Joe cartoons or something?
Yep. Not to mention like drinking an entire case of Ball's energy drink and then playing that game for like 2 days straight.
I've sat in a living room with Nate and CB, and they'll just put on random YouTube videos that they would listen to while they were playing Counter-Strike. And I'm talking about stuff that just does not make any sense. Like they would do these old G.I. Joe. Remember those PSAs that they would do at the end of
body massage machine? No.
and they're dubbed over with funny voices that don't make any sense what they're saying, and they just think it's the funniest thing. And I'm staring at it, going, "What is so funny right now? I just don't even know."
Pork chop sandwiches.
I mean, it's one of those you had to have been there moments. Like I've quoted some of the stuff from the bad lip reading trailers that I think are hilarious. They don't make any sense, but man, they were funny at the time.
Oh, wait till I start playing the It's Raining Tacos song for you.
Oh, stop it. My students are just obsessed with that song.
I love that song.
When they discovered that like Alexa was a thing in my classroom, every day at the end of the day while we're cleaning up the classroom, Alexa, play It's Raining Tacos.
Yes.
And then I had to hear that song every day after school. By the way, I just made somebody really angry that's listened to this podcast, like in their home. And there's
oh, that'd be so great.
Thankfully, I don't have one of those devices near me so I can get away with that. Zach, what about you?
Everyone's so afraid to say the word Alexa.
I know. I had an Alexa in my classroom. I had a student named Alexa. So I literally had to change the name of my device because every time I called on her, my Alexa device would go crazy. So it was funny. It was computer for an entire year.
That's just a sad name.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, Sands of Time jumps out. CB kind of referenced it earlier. I've probably legitimately beaten that game 1,000 times.
Wow.
So that's, that's still only like a 4 or 5 hour game.
Mm-hmm.
That's not terrible.
No. If you played 1,000 times.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I would say, Gears of War 2's got to be up there, I would imagine.
That would probably be at a number 4 or number 5 for me, if I had to guess.
Yeah, maybe it is, but Diablo 2 back in the day, I played a bunch of my cousin all the time. Which is funny because it's just funny to think like that game means nothing to me now, but I put all that time into it.
Mm-hmm.
This is weird. I mean, I don't know. Arkham City. I just boot up the combat maps to relax for 10 years now? When that game came out? 2011? 9 years?
I'm so jealous of you that game clicks with you that well. Like, I've never been that good at that combat before.
I love that combat to death. Obviously.
It should come as no surprise for me. My first one is Pinball FX2. Literally hundreds of hours playing pinball. Like, I score chased for quite a while on that. Fallout 3 is probably in number 2, because that is a game that I played through multiple times to do everything. Collected all the bobbleheads. I did pretty much everything in that game. Number 3, I'd probably say Diablo 3, which aligns with what Zack was saying with Diablo 2. Diablo 3 was my every Friday night game. Shout out to D.A. Cheney, fellow listener from the Hollywood Outsider and the Gaming Outsider. Every Friday night, she and I would get together and play Diablo till wee hours of the... That's such a great game to play co-op with somebody because you can just sit and have a conversation. It's not super intensive. You can just kind of meander and get things done and have a conversation. I just love playing that game with a buddy. It's a good time.
Come to think of it, actually, rather than Counter-Strike 1.6, I would actually say StarCraft. God, we spent way more time playing StarCraft.
Yeah.
I actually think we had like an 18-hour game one time.
One single game that was 18 hours?
Yeah. Like, it got bad. It got really bad.
How do you even, like manage bathroom breaks and all that? You get a bucket?
It got to the point where you would build your defenses so strong that you could probably walk away for like 10 minutes and you'd be fine. But it was the problem that like you'd be coming back and it's like, okay, I gotta rebuild this part of my defenses. And then it was always like there was the two people that always like team up. It was either like me and Nate or me and my buddy Dan. And like one of us would be Protoss and one of us would be Zerg. So it'd be thousands of Hydralisks running at you, and then here comes Dan or Nate with just waves of Protoss carriers.
Those are the things with the little tiny little things that fly around, like little flies.
Nate always hated it because I'd come walking in with like just waves of Mutalisks or Ultralisks, just like, oh, here comes a bunch of mammoths. They're gonna tear you up. Have fun.
I wish I could be good at those games. It just looks like madness to me when I see what people do.
Oh, especially our buddy Dan, his roommate was one of the guys that would like map out every key on a keyboard and just like not even look. So yeah, that was insane to watch him play.
Yeah, that's just kind of crazy. All right, well, thanks to everybody who submitted questions. That is always a fun week for a topic, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned next week for another topic as we head into the month. We got to bring on another guest from the community here pretty soon as well. So just want to give you guys a quick reminder. We do have a Facebook group if you'd like to join the conversations over there. The site is facebook.com/groups/thegocast. We also have a Discord community with lots of conversations going on. It is in the show notes. Also, if you get a chance, please give us an iTunes review or Apple Podcast review. It helps us get the name out there a little bit. Also, check out the website, thegamingoutsider.com. We try to do written reviews for every game that we review, and there are 4 new ones available for you this week. The first is The Shattering, which is actually a video review put together by our video reviewer, Rel. Also, Spencer reviewed Pixel Ripped 95, which is a not PSVR, it is an Oculus Quest VR game that he absolutely loved. I think he gave it a 9.5 out of 10. He really liked that game. Nate reviewed a Switch game called In Other Waters, and I also have a written review out there for Moons of Madness, which I'm going to be talking about here in just a couple minutes. But please check those out. We put a lot into work into writing those, and hope you guys enjoy reading them, and as it help you make decisions. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the games we've actually been playing. All right, Zach, what's new in the horizon for us?
Sure thing. Right off the bat, Bithell Games' latest entry, John Wick Hex, comes to PS4 May 5th. Forza makes the jump to mobile with Forza Street on iOS and Android May 5th. I was surprised to see that one.
That seems interesting, because when I hear Forza, I mean, if it's more of like a Horizon-type game, I guess it would make more sense. But I hear Forza, I think Sim. Which does...
But I think the trailer looks very much like street racing. It's just interesting seeing an Xbox game on iOS, you know? Population Zero comes to PC May 5th. Is another one of those survival MMOs that are so popular. If you want your Olympics, it's the only way you're going to get it. Sonic at the Olympic Games 2020, iOS and Android May 7th. Void Bastards, which was a Xbox Game Pass game last year.
Kind of underrated game,
like
actually.
Let's say I saw it in a lot of Game Critics top 10s of the year. But that's making the jump to PS4 and Switch May 7th. And then that Super Mash game that randomizes 2 genres of games together.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting ported to Switch May 8th.
So they like take 2, like, I remember from the trailer it had like 2 cartridges that they like cut in half and splice them together.
Right, but, a racing RPG. Yeah. Like, here's a fighting game racer.
That sounds pretty cool.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So what catches your what trips your trigger?
I think Super Mash seems most interesting. Although I know John Wick Hex isn't brand new. That's been on PC for a while. That concept seems genuinely intriguing.
Right. I'm a Mike Bithell shill. With Thomas Was Alone, Volume, the circular games. So yeah, definitely John Wick Hex. The movies are also great, but yes. I mean, I'm here for Mike Bithell first, Keanu Reeves second.
Super Mash, John Wick Hex, and probably Sonic at the Olympic Games.
Really?
Yeah, I liked because I have the 2014 one, the 2016 one, so I liked them. They weren't bad.
Will you like it on your phone?
Mean, they're amusing.
Will you like it on your phone?
It'll give me something to do. I mean, so I'll give it a whirl.
Oh, by the way, did you see that? Speaking of phone games, did you see that Alien game was free on cellular devices on Alien Day?
Alien Isolation?
No, Alien Blackout.
There was an Alien game?
Yeah, there's an Alien phone game, and it's supposed to be like I haven't played it yet. I just downloaded it because it was free. I meant to text you on LV 426 Day. April 26th.
Oh, sad.
Oh, you could have given us a heads up there, Scott. Thanks.
Yeah, I was kind of stuck in New York, so I was kind of isolated. I would have downloaded that in a heartbeat.
I don't know if it's any good, but it was free, and I'm like, all right, I'll try it. It reminded me of that Dead Space game that was on iOS. Can't remember what it was. Not Extraction. That was the Wii game. But yeah. Well, CB, let's go ahead and talk about Streets of Rage 4, with both you and I played this past week. I actually sat down and played this online with Chad when the day it came out. And I didn't play Streets of Rage back in the day nearly as much as I played what was the one where you were playing the mayor? It wasn't Streets of Rage, but it was
Final Fight.
Final Fight. I was more of a Final Fight guy. I think Streets of Rage was the Sega one, right?
Yeah, I was way more of a Streets of Rage guy.
Okay. So I don't know any of these characters. but I loved beat 'em ups when I was a kid, and man, I was grinning from ear to ear playing this one.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. The updated art style is pretty entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a Streets of Rage game with the destructible like environment pieces and the
Well, that's what
over the
Final
top
Fight was too.
Yeah, but the over the top story as well. Beyond that, like I miss the 16-bit styling though.
Well, you can switch back and forth, and you can play as the 16-bit styling.
I know, but when I play something new, like I prefer to check out the new version of it. Like I want to finish it with the new graphics first, and then go through and play it again with the older.
Aren't you the guy that praised Shaq Fu like crazy when that came out?
That was a different game. The original Shaq Fu was a fighter.
I understand.
So that was something different. So, and I enjoyed that game. Still do. But this one, like I have very, very fond memories of playing Streets of Rage 1 and 2.
Okay.
This game the pacing feels different. I
How
can't,
so?
I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it yet, but I'm enjoying it. It is very difficult. I will say that, like to a T, like it is way harder than the original Streets of Rage.
This one is?
Yes.
Oh, really? I was flying through levels. I felt like it.
Oh yeah, but which way did you play? Did you play the arcade way or just the normal? Because
I don't remember.
When I played it, there was no continues.
No, you had 2 lives per stage, and if you died on the stage, then you had to start the stage all over again.
See, before, like, you had to continue. Like, if you lost your 3 lives, you could continue and move forward. This, definitely no.
See, I didn't have a problem with that, because you just had to you really had to watch your health meter and keep it going. I hardly ever use the special attacks, because that always decreased your health. Although it felt like if you did that, and then as long as you made another attack without getting hit, then you would get that health back. Am I understanding that right? Because I have not played Streets of Rage games to know how that works.
You could gain some of it back. That was not a thing in Streets of Rage 1 and 2.
Okay.
The other thing you had a different experience than I did because you played with someone.
Right.
These games were meant to be played with someone.
Mm-hmm.
I played by myself. This game is much more difficult by yourself.
Well, and I agree with you, but I feel like that they scale it back depending on the number of players that you have. Because when I was playing, my partner, Chad, died towards the end of a level before I did, and I had to continue playing. And what the game does at that point is it stops throwing as many enemies at you. So when you're fighting a boss, which we'll get to the bosses in just a second, you're fighting this boss, and there's all these ads if you're playing co-op with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But when it was just me by myself, there was no ads, or maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, see, there was only 1 or 2 for me as well. But it definitely felt like getting through the stage was not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It was the boss fights, specifically the first 2. The third boss was surprisingly easy. The chick with the whip.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one was surprisingly easy. The commissioner was hard for me.
Yes.
Because I just couldn't get out of the way of that rush attack.
I agree.
And then the first boss, I don't think I really had a problem with him either. But it was, I did not lose a life throughout the entire level until I got to the boss.
Mm-hmm.
So
the thing about the bosses, and maybe this is just me not understanding how the game works, is I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. Like the boss lights up like he's going to do some special attack. So am I just supposed to run away? There's no block. There's no, it's just, get out of the way of whatever he's going to do.
Yeah. I mean, finding that the pattern for that commissioner was how I got through it, because he'd do that rush attack across the screen. He would light up, come over, grab you and do a body slam. The body slam, it took quite a bit of damage, but if you had ads when he did that rush attack that knocked you down,
mm-hmm.
I just got wrecked when that happened. So
I need to play it more. I didn't finish it. I only got to the 7th or 8th level, I believe. and I haven't hooked up with Chad to play it again since. But I would like to. I was having fun with it. I feel like there's something I'm missing about the score, because this game does the bit at the end where you get a rank based on how well you performed. So like I always got D's or C's. I know Chad continued playing it after I dropped out, and he had been playing for the subsequent days, and he figured out how to get A's. I feel like there's something to do with combos that I just have not been able to figure out yet. And we started to figure it out a little bit when we were playing co-op, where you could actually juggle enemies back and forth, where I could punch an enemy, and it slams towards Chad's character, and Chad would do the same thing and punch it back, and we could kind of ping-pong it back and forth. I feel like maybe there's something to do with that. I just have not honed in on those skills to know how those combos work really well. But I'm looking forward to trying it again.
Yeah, the combo chains are definitely a big thing. I do like the variety of the enemies. So,
there's some of them that are just like, you'll have like 4 of the exact same character, same color palette, everything on the screen at the same time.
Yeah.
I really hate those
annoying.
big rolling guys that spit fire and roll at you. Those guys can just,
yeah.
I hate those guys so much.
Those ones are annoying. And then the guy that does the bounce kick, the Kevins.
The guy that walks around with his hands in his pockets.
Yes, I hate that one.
Yeah, he's not as bad as the roly guy, but yeah, he's pretty rough.
Yeah.
I also love that you can pick up weapons. Like, I know that's a standard in these types of games, but any game that lets me pick up a katana blade and just I love that.
Oh, I love the pipe. The pipe is like my favorite weapon.
That seems like a standard in beat 'em ups.
The knife is garbage.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can throw it and maybe get a little bit of damage from across the way, but short range, you're not going to do much with it.
The one thing that I've loved about these games, even growing up, is like you smash a garbage can and a turkey appears. I'm like, nothing like eating like garbage turkey.
Yeah, but we'd be upset if that wasn't in there, because that was like a thing back in the day, or ham. Yeah. So it's fun playing co-op with somebody though, and like checking each other's health and being like, oh hey, you're lower, you take that one. It's just like we did when we were kids. That's how whose turn is it to get the pizza from in Turtles?
Ninja Turtles, yeah. And I feel that that's where I kind of missed out some on this game so far, is I haven't found somebody to play it with. So
yeah, maybe we should play some more together. Is it just 2-player co-op, or can you do 3 or 4? I
don't know. I'll have to look into it. So because, I know there's up to 4 different characters, so I'm assuming you could probably do more than 2.
Well, there's more characters too, because I unlocked a character.
Yeah, I haven't unlocked any yet, so
it's and it's great because they all played a little bit differently. Like Chad was playing one character and I was playing as another, and he's like, "Oh, if you double tap to the right or left, your character will dash." It wouldn't work for my character. So some characters dash, some do like a different attack. That each character plays a little bit differently, enough to feel like a different experience instead of it just being a fresh skin. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, if we can definitely get 4 people on this, I would love to bring Nate Lucas in on this, because I know how much he likes Streets of Rage.
He says he's not a fan of the art style at all, so he's in your camp on that one.
Yeah, but I know he likes the OG.
Yeah, we could put it in OG form for him.
All right.
Again, that is Streets of Rage 4. We are both playing it on Xbox One because it was on Game Pass, which is awesome. I didn't even know it was on Game Pass until the day it was on Game Pass. I probably would have bought that otherwise, so I'm glad I didn't have to.
I probably would have too.
All right, moving on. Zack, you've been playing a game for review called The Inner Friend. I have no idea what's going on in this game. I get Limbo vibes. I get, where you've got a companion. What's going on here?
Yeah, the easiest way to describe it, which is also a little reductionist, it is Limbo but 3D.
Oh, okay. I like it.
That kind of paints a perspective for you. It is very much that kind of, metaphorical, what a indie game thing almost, where it's, what are we really talking about here? But if you're the inner friend, it appears you're like the psychological aid that we all have inside of us.
Like the devil or angel on your shoulder?
Yeah, kind of. But like that part of you that wants to heal you, even if you're fighting against it.
Oh, okay. So it's a little psychological.
Yes, definitely that all bit one big metaphor, but it is very much one of those kind of indie games. You do go into here, do a puzzle. It's got a little bit more of a horror leaning, a little bit scarier. There's a part in a barber shop that was pretty uncomfortable. It's like a bunch of childhood fears. Like you go through, like there's a school level. I don't know about you, but one of my biggest social anxiety situations is getting my hair cut. Because I hate having to make conversation with the person.
Really?
I always feel so stressed. Yeah. So I had a level. I must not be alone because they have a whole level about it here. And like getting lost in a mall is a level, stuff like that. It's neat. It's just kind of feels like you've done this before.
Not in a good way.
It just kind of like, oh hey, it's another one of these. It doesn't do enough that kind of makes like a specific part kind of jump out at you or grab your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of, it's like, oh okay, it's like, oh, it's another one of these indie games that are a metaphor, except it's in 3D now.
Gotcha. I know you had some difficulties with some puzzles that you texted me about.
Oh yes, there is a big colorblind puzzle where they need you to differentiate between red and green from afar, which is difficult for me being red and green colorblind up close. So it was impossible from afar, and then even when I got up close, it was still difficult.
Wow.
It was that was rough. And one thing, the controls are incredibly finicky. Like like your character almost has to turn Resident Evil style before they'll start moving in that direction.
Oh, kind of like when you're climbing. Kind of like when you're climbing in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, yeah. It's not quite as bad as like the old tank controls or anything, but it is like a very noticeable delay as you watch your character turn, which is normal. It's just fine for the most part, but there are a few jumping puzzles or stealth sections where you will lose or fail, and it will absolutely not be your fault.
Gotcha.
In fact, it's bizarre. You have more air control after you jump than when you're on the ground. So sometimes if you want to turn around fast, it might just benefit you to jump real quick.
Wow, that's weird.
It's very bizarre.
Huh. They don't instead of give you a center button like Ocarina of Time where you Z center and you're facing the right direction.
I don't feel like. I mean, that would be nice if it would just snap.
Right.
But it refuses to do so.
Is the story interesting, or is it just kind of setups? Of these little mini horror vignettes.
It makes it interesting because you don't know. Oh, what's the next childhood fear we will face?
Gotcha.
But it's not like there's not like a real narrative to latch onto. It's all very esoteric, and it's enjoyable for what it is. It just kind of didn't. In what is quickly becoming a saturated genre, the poignant indie platformer, it is hard to stand out. I would say.
Fair. Do you recommend it or hold off?
It's one of these wait for a sale situations.
Okay. Fair enough. That is The Inner Friend, and you played it on PS4, correct?
Yes. Yep.
But it's available on multiple platforms, so if you want to check that out, you can do so.
All right. Well,
absolutely.
I've got a question, Scott. Tell me about this game, Moons of Madness, because when I first saw this, I kind of had a Dead Space vibe, and I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, I had a very, very much a Dead Space vibe when I saw the trailer, which is part of why I wanted to review it so bad. I would say that this is not...
Make no mistake, the key art for this game is almost a direct Dead Space 2 poster.
Oh, with the astronaut flying away with the tentacles coming out at it?
Yes.
Yeah.
If he had a plasma cutter in his hand, it would be a Dead Space screenshot.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought as well. That's the cover art, isn't it, for one of them? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is not that style of game. This is, and I'm not knocking it for this reason, but this is what we've come to know as a walking simulator. There is no combat in this game. There is there's not a real sense of dread. Like you get in an amnesia where you're constantly running away from something and hiding. This is walk from point A to point B. click some things. There are some minor stealth situations, but let me start with the story. You play as an astronaut, or actually an engineer by the name an engineer.
Jeez.
By the name of Shane, who is on Mars.
Is his name Shane Clark?
Shane Clark, no. His name is Shane, and it starts out really strong because he wakes up in the hab, as it were, on Mars, and just things start going wrong right out the gate. There is horrific things happening in this. You don't see any people. There are tentacles everywhere. This game has a very Lovecraftian vibe to it. And it starts out great, and then you wake up from a dream, and then you're back, and then you're doing kind of mundane things that you would expect an engineer to do. And I think this is my biggest gripe with the game, because I think the story and setting and setup are really interesting, but what you actually do in this game feels very tedious to me. As an example, you have to get into the back of a 6-wheeled vehicle that they call a meerkat. And no exaggeration, in order to get into this thing, you walk behind it, you click on a button on the right-hand side of it to open a ramp. You climb up the ramp, you turn around, you have to click a button to close the ramp. You turn around again to go towards the front of the vehicle, you press a button to open the door to let you into the cab. Then you go up to the driver's seat, you press a button to sit down in the seat. And then once you're in a seat, you press a button to start the engine and it takes off. So what is that, 5 button presses I said you do? And you have to do that every single time you get in and out of the meerkat.
Okay, that's annoying.
Every time you leave the habitat, you have to put a helmet on. You have to press the button to change the pressure to the atmosphere so that it matches the atmosphere outside or inside. Then you press the door, and you have to do that multiple times. Those kinds of things are a little bit annoying, but if you can get past that, there is an interesting story to tell here. It's frustrating when you're playing a visual, you're playing a game where you're interacting with it, and a good portion of the story bits are in like email communications that you find on consoles. Have you ever played a game like that? Like sometimes lore is like built into a game where you read stuff.
Talos
These are
Principle?
Not played that one yet. That one's actually on my list. And a lot of times it's things that aren't necessarily vital. It's just ways to kind of teach you about what's going on in the world. But these are ones where if you want to understand the story, you're going to have to read these emails. And even when you do, I was still very confused by the end of the game.
Oh, there was another one of the quick games that I had you play, The Station.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was a full motion video one, right?
No. The Station was that one where you're on a space station and you have to kind of figure out what's going on, but majority of it was you had to read like little vlogs and
yeah. And I understand, I don't have a problem with reading. I'm not one of those that refuses to watch a subtitled movie or anything like that. I enjoy reading, but in a game, and I know it's not fair to compare it to a AAA game like Dead Space, but in a game like that where you are being told the story through audio logs, or someone's talking to you through a video projector camera type of thing, that gets me more excited more than popping into screen and reading walls of text. That maybe just be a personal preference. And I felt like the cheap scares here were things just randomly appearing in front of you. Like it just felt like a jump scare. And it's really funny because there are creatures in the game. And again, I know nothing about Lovecraft, but there's lots of tentacles and creatures with tentacles in this. So a creature I will see in the distance and it will scurry away. In real life, if I see something scurry away, I'm going as far away from that as possible and trying to either hide or find another route. But the way this game is set up is that's the only way I can go. So I feel like the dumb person in a horror movie that's going directly towards the danger, which it bugs me a little bit, but it's a very linear game. You don't really have a whole lot of choice. I sound like I'm dogging on this game. for its budget, the game looks decent, and the story delves into psychology more than I was expecting. You see some flashbacks and learn about your character's past, and it's worth a playthrough. But I think I'm in the boat Zack was with the Inner Friend. This is a wait for the sale game for sure.
Okay. Well, if I get around to it and it's we game share, so I'll give it a once through and then probably never look at it again.
It is super easy achievement points. You basically get all the achievement points just for playing through the game. I think there's one that you can miss that's really hard to miss. And then the only other one is you have to make a different choice at the very last moments of the game, which you can just reset that last level in the credits and make the other choice. And yeah, all 1,000. So
I'm guessing the missable achievement is read all the things.
No,
it's
nothing like that at all. It's literally a room where there is an electrical wire dangling over some water, and in order to get the achievement, you have to allow yourself to be killed by electrocuting yourself.
Oh, okay. So one of those.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll give it a once through. We'll see.
You don't even need a guide. Like seriously, just play it and try to enjoy it, and go that way. There are moments of there are awesome moments in this game. I won't say awesome. There are good moments in this game.
Okay.
So that's what I'll say. Again, that is Moons of Madness. Got another review for you. Thomas stopped by to talk about a game he played called Summit of the Wolf. It sounds like a really interesting game, very dark and disturbing. I'm going to let him talk to you about it right now. Hey, what's up, Thomas? Long time no see.
Yeah, it's everything is good under the current circumstances. Still cooked up at home, but yeah.
I hear ya. So what point-and-click adventure do you have to talk to us about this week?
I am going to talk to you about a point-and-click adventure called The Summit of the Wolf.
I am interested in this one because this one looks super dark. Even though the trailer was bright and colorful and all that, you said this game starts with a warning before you even play it, correct?
Yeah, this game starts with a disclaimer because it is about abuse, child abuse, sexual abuse, trauma. This is not a lighthearted game.
That's what I hear. So tell me about the story of this one then, because that's one heck of a way to start you into a game.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought as well. But it does prepare you for what's coming in a way, because it sort of sets the stage, because you know what you're going to play is going to be heavy. In this game, you play Ophelia, who wakes up in a beautiful garden with a beautiful lake, and she does remember that she's from Michigan, and she does remember things from her quote-unquote real life, but she is in a fantasy world. She
reminds me of a character from Dark Crystal, almost, like the pointy ears and the rounded face. She's
a pixie. And she needs to follow. She talks to a person there who tries to help her, and she said, well, you need to follow your wolf. There's a white wolf. You need to follow her. To get where you go, you need to go to the summit of the wolf, which is on top of a faraway mountain, to drink from the water there and find out the truth. So that's the quest she is put upon. And so she needs to summon the wolf first. That's one of the first objectives. Summon the wolf, and then follow her. And then you come across all kinds of weirdness and characters. And it's hard. It is a very normal point-and-click adventure. You can move around several areas where you can pick up objects, where you get confronted by puzzles, by characters you can talk to, and everything is so that you can come closer to the summit of the wolf and try to find out what is happening.
So is that truth that she discovers, is that the truth that she has to come to grips with in the real world of this abuse that's happening to her?
That is something that during the game becomes obvious, because I have to well, maybe it's not real spoiling because I think it's also mentioned in the trailer, but there are two games. You're basically two worlds simultaneously. There is the fantasy world that Ophelia is in, and there is a real world. And in the real world, you play a different character. I'm not going to say why. I'm not going to say who, but that is the two things that are going on. And basically, what is happening in the fantasy world has some reflection. Or what is happening in the real world is somehow reflected also in that fantasy world. So what is happening with Ophelia has something to do with what is happening or has happened with her in the real world. And it's not nice what has happened to her, and that's what you're trying to find out. The further you go into the story, the more you also find out what has happened, why it has happened, and what's going on.
Gotcha. That sounds very heavy-handed with a little bit of never-ending story thrown in there, it sounds like, almost.
Yeah, that's also the vibe I got from playing the game. It's like, never-ending story, labyrinth, where fantasy and real world don't really collide, but they go concurrently. They mirror each other, indeed. Mm-hmm. Where you play a child protagonist. Ophelia is 12 years old. She comes across all kinds of these fantastical beings, some of them who join her. Bad things happen, good things happen. She's really on a quest, and then you also have the thing happening in the real world that have something to do with what's happening in the fantasy world.
That sounds interesting. Now talk to me a little bit about how the game looks and sounds, because I got to be direct with you. The trailer did not do a whole lot for me. The voice acting seemed kind of weak, and I'm hoping that was just a trailer and not evident in the game. How did you feel about how this game was put together artistically?
They use a specific type of graphics, like 3D graphics. That
it almost looked like cell shaded.
Yeah, 3D. It is cell shaded, and I think the cell shading was also done to take away a bit from the Uncanny Valley. But the Uncanny Valley is quite strong in the humanoid characters. In the non-humanoid characters, it is okay, but the cell shading does help with that. That is an artistic choice that I think is one of the weaker spots of this game. However, it does not take anything away from the story itself. I've played games that were worse, that were a lot better looking but had worse stories, and vice versa too. I thought the sound was really well done. I think I got the impression that a lot of effort was put into the voice acting. I didn't found it weak in a way, not at all. And if you do find it weak, you can turn it off. So you don't need to listen if you didn't like the voice. But to be honest, I never turned it off, so it wasn't annoying to me or in any way. I thought it also, yeah, I thought it was done well. Okay. So it is all there to support this story, and this story is what keeps you going in this game, because especially later on, once you find out more of what is supposedly happening.
Gotcha.
Especially
So is this a game you recommend our listeners check out?
Only if they can handle the subject matter. Because gotcha. It is heavy subject matter. That disclaimer was not joking.
Right. And is it hard to watch, or is it just kind of hinted at?
It is heavily implied. And trust me, once you get playing, for instance, there is a bit in the real world where you find a diary, and you can find a hidden message in the diary, and yeah, that hits home pretty hard. And then you really start to understand what's going on, and then certain things in the fantasy world are making more sense. Why she's doing certain things, or why certain things are happening to her, and yeah, that's enough to give you some chills. So if you're not, if you don't want to be confronted or triggered by this subject matter, then or you just don't want to play something that's dark, don't play this game. But if you do, if you have no qualms with that and you do want to play the story, because the story is good and it's well done, and these they treat the subject matter with a lot of respect. It is partially based on true stories by survivors, that you do get a strong story. So in that way, if you're into that, I do recommend this game.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to reading the written review. We should have that in the next week or so?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Awesome. You can look for that on thegamingoutsider.com. Thomas, thanks so much for stopping by to talk to us about Summit of the Wolf, and thank you to Unimatrix Productions for providing us a review copy of it. I'm glad you enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to playing the next game now.
Awesome. Well, thanks for stopping by, man. You have a good one, all right?
Yeah, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and catch you next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, thank you, Thomas. I got one more game I want to talk about before I let you take over with your deluge of games that you've been playing on since you've been back, CB. Nate recommended me play this game called Taiko no Tatsujin on the Switch. It was on sale for $20, down from $50, and it's a rhythm game, and he said the music is fantastic, so I had to give it a try. This game is pretty great. Here's the interesting thing about this. It's a standard rhythm game in that you've got, you know, objects floating, and then once they hit the marker, you have to hit the button. So the cool thing about this game is there are only 2 buttons. This is a drumming rhythm game. So you have to imagine that you have 2 drums, and one of the buttons is your right drum, one of the buttons is your left drum. And as they come in, you are just... So I literally had to hold the controller where I was pressing the buttons with my pointer fingers instead of because it was just easier. Yeah, it sounds silly, but when you get those triple notes, you know, like 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, it makes it impossible to do it with your thumbs. So I was able to, because I feel like I'm somewhat rhythmically inclined, I was able to do the hard mode pretty easily, but the expert mode, it gets insane. It's nuts. Did you watch the trailer at all?
No, I actually did not, because...
Okay.
So
it is super, super Japanese.
Awesome.
Like
I'm in.
Very, very, very Japanese. Music is great, though. The interesting thing about this is I'm playing on my Switch Lite, which obviously does not have detachable controllers. There are 3 different ways to play this game, and I am really, really close to buying the peripheral that you could buy with this game. Well, first off, the game is designed to be played with the Joy-Cons, and instead of pressing the buttons, you actually drum with your hands. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 1. You know, I'm making motions like people that are listening to this podcast can see me doing it on the camera here. But you actually shake the Wiimotes and beat with it to do each one, and they're color coded, so you know which one is right, which one's left by the color, and the colors match the color of your Joy-Cons if you have the red and blue ones.
Okay.
All right, but there's a peripheral that is actually 2 drums that are connected to your Switch.
How big are they?
Think like what was the Donkey Kong?
Oh,
Congo?
the congas?
Yeah, kind of like that, but they're a little bit smaller, not quite as tall. And you play like that. I want to get those so bad now, just because I want to play this game that way. And this would be a great game to play with people around and just pass the controller around. Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. And like Nate said, the music is quite good. It's really, really solid. So,
all right, I'm gonna have to check it out.
No Tatsujin is the name of that game. All right, man. It is time for you to tell us what you've been catching up on, because
all the things, all of it. A little bit of everything. First off, I mean, day one I got home, before I even got back to my house, I picked up a shipment of games from Best Buy. First off was Resident Evil 3. I smashed through that in the first day.
I beat that as well. I played it this week too.
It's not bad, but it's not great. for me, I remember growing up playing through the PlayStation 1 era of Resident Evil games, Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. I loved 3 on the PS1 because the Nemesis felt like very foreboding and like just hard. This felt like comic relief.
The Nemesis did?
Yeah. Not scared at all.
Well, you're also not 12 years old. I mean, there's...
Understandable, but there was scenes in Resident Evil 2, like Mr. X, you were like, crap, man, like, that was terrifying.
That's the thing, is I felt like he was never... They did the whole, like, him wandering around thing at the beginning of the game, and it was never like that again. Like, every time you ran into him after that, it was just you running away from him in a Crash Bandicoot kind of way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It definitely feels like a different style of game than Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 felt like you were going through, like, clearing things out of the way. Resident Evil 3 just felt like run through this game as fast as you can, stay away from the big bad, and get out. Period.
Right.
And there was also in the original Resident Evil 3, there were no safe rooms. Like, you could be like, I'm gonna go type on this ribbon and save my game, and as soon as you like left it, Nemesis is in the room with you, like beating the crap out of you.
Right.
In this, there was one scene I was out, like I got into a toy store and the Nemesis just like stood out the toy store in the window. It looked like he was window shopping. And I'm like, this is like, that's why I said, like, it felt comical.
That's kind of funny. I didn't have that happen to me.
So and the other thing I loved about the Mr. X character, like the tyrant, was it was always just that slow moving forward, like never stopping.
Pepe Le Pew kind of thing.
Yeah, like with this, like the Nemesis is like jumping around, and I'm like, what is going on? Like,
well, if they had made him just like Mr. X, people would have complained, like, oh, you just took the same assets from the other game and just dropped it in here.
But the tyrant didn't use a gun. Nemesis does. Like that's why in the original it felt like a great progression, because now you have a tyrant with a gun and a rocket launcher, and in this one it's like, nope, he's an acrobat. Look at him go. Whee! So I had fun with it. I still love Jill Valentine's character. I'm really hoping that when they do 4 now, they will do 4 a justice, because I have a feeling with the HD treatment, how that part of the storyline progressed is just going to make it even more comical.
Well, that game is supposed to be comical, I think, to some degree.
To a degree, but this is going to make it downright stupid. I would have much rather see them do like Code Veronica X.
I wonder if our reason that you and I didn't love this one as much as 2, even though I know Zack did, he reviewed the game great, is because we played 2 much more. I played 3 once. I played through 3 exactly once.
I played 3 quite a few times.
Did you? Okay.
Because I played it on the PS1 and then I played it again on the GameCube. So I really enjoyed 3 in that era.
Okay. It felt, the story felt fresh to me because I'd only done it the one time. I did not remember Nemesis mutating, or is that a spoiler? Does it have? I don't remember things going to the level that they did in this game. That final confrontation, the aftermath, was pretty cool.
That actually happened in the original.
Okay, so I did not remember that at all. So that felt like a fresh scene to me, which was really cool.
I enjoyed the crap out of that scene. They did it.
Yeah.
See, the boss fights in this, like the actual boss fights, not the in between where like, oh, Nemesis is here and he's chasing you. But the actual like boss fight segments felt great. There was a couple scenes in the original that were missing from this, that because I remember there was a fight scene between Jill and Nemesis in front of the Raccoon City Police Department, which was not in this game. So, like I said, there was some parts that I'm like, man, I wish this was in there.
Wasn't there a clock tower scene or something?
There was a clock tower in this. You just didn't go in it.
But I mean, in the original there
wasn't
was.
there a
scene, yeah, where
Yes.
you went into the clock tower. Yeah.
But it was cool to see the tie to Resident Evil 2 with the cop from the.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh man, they're tying it all together. So I'm really hoping that moving forward with like 4 and hopefully like Code Veronica X or 0 gets these beautiful polish treatments.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think 4 is the one that they'll really have to nail it.
yeah.
To keep people buying these reboots. What about Final Fantasy VII Remake? I know you've been playing that one as well. I'm eager to hear what you think of that.
So I've been plowing through it. I'm not loving it as much as I did the original.
Okay.
That's looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. For me, I'm really enjoying some things about this. This game looks gorgeous. Like, it is beautiful to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm seeing a lot of flaws. I know I called you because I'm like, hey, did you ever notice when you're talking to like a random character that their mouth doesn't match up with the audio? So that kind of annoyed me. The hidden loading screens, the amount of them really annoys me. Where you're
See, I wrote some of this in my review that like I feel like there were things like that bothered me, but they did not impede my enjoyment at all. I felt so enthralled with every moment of this game. I didn't have a problem.
See, I didn't mind the older loading screens.
Mm-hmm.
Now when you hide a loading screen in front of me and force me to hold a button to move forward, annoys me. Like
Did
an older loading.
Did it know you in Gears?
Yes, it did.
Really?
Before, like I just enjoyed, like I could sit down, like set the controller down, like relax your hands for a couple minutes, especially like after a boss fight. Now it's like, oh, I can't move forward for the game until I pick this control up and hold the forward button down to move through this narrow alley. Some of the changes with the story I'm enjoying. The Magic Mike scene is pretty hilarious.
Magic Mike scene.
That's what it is. Don't lie to me. That's what it is.
See a bunch of lawbreakers out there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I can't wait to you've beat the original, right?
Multiple times. Multiple times.
I'm intrigued to see what you think of how this arc wraps up.
Yeah. I also really enjoy the upgrading weapon system that they implemented for this.
Mm-hmm.
That feels really good for a progression of moving an older game into a newer style. That feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
while still giving the familiarity of the materia.
Yeah.
The way that system works just feels great.
Yep. Cloud is a dick.
He's supposed to be.
I know, but I before, when all this audio didn't exist, like your brain used to fill in the audio in your head.
Right.
And now it's like, man, like Cloud is a jerk. So
what do you think of the voice actors? Like, do you think Barrett fits Barrett?
I would have preferred a little bit more gravelly voice, but it's not terrible. So it's definitely not the worst voice acting. It's pretty decent.
Okay.
But listening to like Reno and Rude and Cloud, they all sound, most of them sound pretty much the same. It's just like Barrett sounds different. I can't wait till they bring in like Sid. Like,
it'll be really interesting to see who they get for Sid.
Yeah. So I'm more curious to see some of that. The mini games are slightly entertaining. I'll give it that.
I mean, come on, they were barely entertaining in the original, so.
Yeah, but I mean, did you do the squats?
Oh yeah, I hate that because they make them disappear, and you have to like do it by just visual sight without the button. Ugh.
Yeah, that was, but it was actually put together fairly well. So, but I'm enjoying it. I'm on chapter 12 of 18.
18, yep.
So I'll probably have this done within the next like day or two.
Nice. What is Stranded Deep? That's the next game you've been playing.
So Stranded Deep is another survival game. Falls into the same category as like 7 Days to Die, or oh god, there was another Abzu. So
okay,
but
Abzu is very much like a artistic float through the water, touch points kind of game.
Not Abzu, Submerged or the underwater one that's like Minecraft.
Like the Terraria one, the underwater Terraria game.
No, but it's a 3D environment. I didn't
play. You played it in VR, didn't you?
No, the name is escaping me. But basically, you crash land on a planet, and you have to go and find source like materials and build up a habitat underwater and try to survive. Stranded Deep is the same concept, but it's Castaway, the game. So
in a good way.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's very relaxing. It's a polished Minecraft.
Oh
like
man.
You crash land on a desert island. You have to find things to build and survive. So I find these kind of games enjoyable. I mean, for a short time until I find like a new one.
Subnautica, is that the game you were thinking of?
Yes, Subnautica is the one I'm thinking of.
All right.
So I enjoy those games for quite a while until like the newer versions of them come out. I mean, I probably put close to 30 to 40 hours into Subnautica.
Mm-hmm.
So I've probably got about 5-6 hours into Stranded Deep so far. I've made it off the first initial, because you're on an island, but you can see other islands out in the distance.
Oh, okay.
And so like each island only has a limited amount of resources.
Gotcha.
So they grow back. Like there's palm trees with coconuts. You can drink the coconuts water and like eat like the flesh of the coconut. But over time, like as you build more and more complex things, you run out of resources faster. So you try to move to a different island, but they are quite a ways off in the distance. And there are sharks in the water that will kill you. So you have to like build complex rafts to like get from one island to the next. So it's enjoyable. It can be frustrating.
I was dropping off some stuff at your house and you were in the middle of playing this and you looked like you were super frustrated with this game when I was talking to you.
Yeah, I had just spent a lot of time building a raft and I accidentally flipped it in the middle of the ocean and a shark ate me, so I lost all my progress.
Gotcha.
So
that is Stranded Deep, and you also dabbled in Telling Lies, which I played on iOS a few months ago, but it's on console now, yes?
Yes.
How are you liking it?
I like these kind of games. I love live action decision games.
Mm-hmm.
The guy from Upgrade is.
Oh, I just watched that recently. Holy cow, that's a good movie.
That was a great movie.
Oh my goodness, that was a severely underrated, well shot movie.
Yes, that is a dark movie.
Yeah. Also, one of the actresses from Westworld is in that.
Yes.
Clementine, I think.
Yep. But man, this is such a unique concept for a game.
Mm-hmm.
Over the fact that like you have to like reverse scrub through footage.
Yeah.
To like figure out the storyline.
Yeah, for those that aren't familiar, this plays kind of like Her Story, where you're basically given a video and you have to listen for clue words that you type into a search engine that pops up other videos that you can watch. And then you watch those and you listen for more clue words. And yeah, you're kind of, oh man, what's that movie where it was played backwards, basically?
Memento.
It's kind of like you're mementoing what this story that's happening between, a guy who's married and it looks like he's having an affair, or is he not? Or
yeah, I'm not quite sure what to make of this yet, because for me, there's no real like progress for this kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're like, oh well, I know of like this clue word brings up this video clip, and there's something really weird that happens in this, and yeah, like I'll have to. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that could possibly play this game, but so I'll have to talk with you like off air at some point in time. But there's some weird things going on in some of these videos that I'm like, man, I'm not quite sure what to make of this, or I'm not quite sure where this story is going.
Well, it's really well written, because when you see a scene for the first time, you think something is going on, and then when you finally see the before, the lead up to it, it makes sense what was going on in the previous scene or subsequent scene. And it's really interesting how it comes together. I should go back and finish it, because I still have it on my on my phone.
The thing that's super weird for me is the fact that all these conversations that videos you're watching are usually like Skype videos where you're watching one person talking.
So you're only hearing half the conversation.
Yeah, you're only hearing half the conversation. So you have to listen for like a keyword or a certain phrase that one of them says to find the other half of the video, to watch that half of the video to understand like, oh, so this is what they were talking about. Because it's definitely taking a lot of phrases and things out of context.
Right.
So it's a very, very cool concept. I'm just not sure where the story's going yet. I have a feeling on like what happened, but because like I said, there's no progress to this, so I don't know what the natural conclusion for the game is going to be.
Right. That's how it was with her story as well. You kind of, it was probably more clear with her story because you knew what answer you were looking for. In telling lies, you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You don't know what clues you're trying to uncover. You're just kind of going willy-nilly and seeing what happens.
Well, the other game that this reminded me of, because this popped up in a games recommended for you, is because I loved playing the game #WarGames.
I still haven't played that.
It's really good.
Yeah.
So with that one, like you watch the videos and you actually had to focus on the video or like click a button. With this, there is none of that. It's just scrub the footage, find a word, move on to the next.
Oh,
so,
that sounds painful.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm glad you were finally getting caught up, and it's good talking to you about games. I would have Zack share the games he's been playing. I know he's been playing some Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties with him, so he had to drop out. So hopefully we can hear him talk about that, because he's been playing those combat challenges with that free DLC that came out this week. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. CB, thanks so much for being here, man. You got any parting words before we get out of here?
Yeah, wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Watch out for the Rona.
I've got one recommendation I want to say. I mentioned Westworld a second ago. The finale was this past week. And let me tell you guys, I'm not going to spoil anything,
okay.
Don't worry.
Okay.
If you skipped or decided to not watch season 3 because season 2 was a little convoluted, maybe a little complicated, overly cerebral, do yourself a favor, go watch a recap of season 2 and get on board with season 3, because it is great. It is one of the best seasons of TV I've seen in a long time, and it's only 8 episodes. It's really well acted. Aaron Paul is awesome.
Is there going to be a season 4?
There's going to be a season 4. And when you watch after the credits.
Okay.
There are 2 specific things that happen after the credits that are very pivotal for season 4, I believe. And I know Maurice and I have been going back and forth in the Westworld spoiler cast thread on our Discord server about what happened, and had some interesting theories. Yeah, don't give up on Westworld. And also, I got to give a shout out to Aaron Peterson and Troy Heinrichs, who have a podcast called Beyond Westworld. That is a companion episode. They basically watch the episode as it airs, and then they go back and dissect it and talk about it. And they do a really good job of doing a quick recap and then just discussing it in a philosophical sense, which makes a lot of sense when you talk about season 3, as I can't wait for you to see. So again, that is Beyond Westworld. If you love the show, you need to check out their podcast. They do a great job. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zack Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.